Do I have to say anything? Davis, let's get a clean second sticks.
Scene Brian, take one.
Let's take Ryan.
Here we go. So, let's talk about Defy Media. So I think to sort of start talking about this whole mess, we do have to start from the beginning. So that is why we decided to join Defy in the first place, why we sold the Warp Zone to this company.
We had been gaining some traction with the YouTube channel. We were at Maker Studios, sort of part-timing it. We were doing the YouTube channel nights, weekends, and during the day, we were working as PAs, editors, channel analysts.
I was going to school. I was delivering food for a food delivery company before there was even Grubhub. At some point, we thought, yeah, we don't want to do any of this stuff anymore. We just want to work on Warp Zone.
There was no Patreon, there was no Kickstarter yet even. So there wasn't really a financial way for us to be full-time.
We looked around at all of the networks at the time for potential opportunities. We met with, all the MCNs that aren't around anymore. It's kind of indicative of how much this industry has changed in such a short amount of time.
A representative from Defy, which was called Alloy then, came to us.
We ultimately decided to go with Alloy because they were offering the best salaries and a healthy production budget to grow the channel.
We would basically sell the rights to the Warp Zone, and we would get, stock in the company, which, it's funny knowing how it ended. But at the time, it seemed really cool that, we had stock. That was very adult.
It was a hard decision. We went back and forth, actually, for months about it.
Alloy owned Smosh, and they had a similar situation. And we talked to Ian and Anthony about how they felt about the company and about letting go of your IP and all this other stuff.
For a long time, they'd just been legends of YouTube, and then it was nice to, to speak to them face to face, and they were super, jazzed about Alloy and everything they were doing, and it seemed to be, they seemed to think it would be a good fit for everybody. I didn't know that I had, so 6 years ago, I bought a ticket to be on the Titanic. Oh man.
They, at the time, seemed pretty happy with their situation at Alloy. They seemed to be doing what they were passionate about, what they wanted to do. We were all extremely excited.
So we came in. We were folded into this family with Smosh and Clevver, and it was a small group, but it was like a close group, and we were, working and collaborating with each other, and it was really like good gig for 3 months.
All of a sudden, we find out that a merger is happening and that we're merging with Break Media. And then, gosh, it changed so quickly.
Almost as soon as that happened, we were not a priority for anyone.
We got different oversight. We got different people in charge of us all of a sudden.
There were multiple offices on multiple sides of the country, and trying to get any visibility or FaceTime was difficult, to put it mildly. The honeymoon period was a little bit shorter than I would have liked. But hey, that's showbiz, baby.
I remember being told, well, this is what happens when you sell to a company.
All of a sudden, we were seen as employees. The corporation's interest is always the bottom line, and the people who work there are sort of secondary.
It took us, I think, almost a year of basically reproving ourselves to this new company that we were valuable and we made a lot of money for the company.
Defy sort of felt like an absentee father, They were bankrolling us, but they weren't really paying attention to us.
We had the ability to basically function as a small production company within the company. We had access to a budget and resources, but we were responsible for that. And as long as those numbers looked good, they were happy and they kept the ship going.
Since Alloy, merged with Defy and they sort of kept a lot of stuff from us, we never fully trusted them.
I'm an emotional person and I'm an anxious person. So I was experiencing for years a certain level of burnout and frustration with the company. People, I think, took advantage of our smaller position and our eagerness to please.
And then, later on, the company had to make moves like selling Screen Junkies. And I feel like that was a huge sign that things are wrong.
Everyone is sort of like on edge the whole time because nobody really knows what's going on. Nobody knows how it's working. And everyone is sort of like, oh, my department could go at any time. Like when they just start laying people off, like, you sort of assume that like, maybe we're next.
We were told all of the unprofitable stuff was sold off. All the ones that are still making money are here. So we're like, all right, well, we can turn this around. We were definitely lied to because they were way, way more in debt. Hilariously more in debt than we were told.
They led us to believe right up until the end that things were okay.
We were having like rah-rah speeches about how the company was going to be this awesome thing like 10 years from now. And within a month of that meeting, the whole company shut down.
We kept on going as good soldiers.
We had no idea the company was going to fold in a matter of days.
I think one of the hardest things was just the lack of communication. Like, they knew things were wrong. They knew. They absolutely knew. Even if they had best intentions in mind, they knew how dire things were for the company, and they did a horrible job of communicating that. Even the last few days, no information.
And then one day it all came to an end, to a very anticlimactic and surprising stop.
Tuesday, November 6th, 2018.
The Friday before we had like loosely caught wind that something wasn't right, but obviously no firm answers.
The CEO of the company that was like, you're getting this scary legal letter that says the company might shut down in 60 days, but don't freak out about it. We're figuring it out. Well, everybody freaked out about it.
I didn't know because every day I assumed that the worst is going to happen. But I had like a literally guttural sinking like, oh no, this is it. Like, yep, this is it. When we didn't have answers until the end of Tuesday, the whole company is like a zombie apocalypse.
There was just an air, like you could cut it with a knife. Like it was just, everybody knew something was going to go down. And then 5 p.m., we get the email.
The most impersonal ass motherfucking email I've ever read. They use some bullshit excuse like fucking due to unforeseen market conditions. Is disrespectful like a word you can use? I don't know.
It's like, sure, market conditions. You didn't sell the company in time. I'm sorry, but you also could have done a way better job of communicating with your employees.
We get an email. An email. Not a in-person chat, not a conference call. We get an email saying that effective immediately, all operations at Defy are shutting down. To go to HR, pick up your final paycheck, and don't come back.
And it was over. It was like such a weird feeling. We worked there for 5 years. We
all had a lot of emotions.
I just felt so sad. I think I cried like immediately.
I had already basically resigned myself to the fact that bad stuff was going to happen, but I was still hoping for some kind of like silver lining on the cloud. I was already like mostly numb, and then I was like, all right, let's pack it up and go.
It was weird. It was a very weird day. It was every movie stereotype of a company going under.
I felt like it was a sort of a scene out of like Fun with Dick and Jane, where like he's walking through the office, they're like burn barrels, people are just like shredding documents.
People are running around like crazy and plants are being looted. It was exactly that.
This is like one of the most surreal and bizarre days I've ever experienced.
A fun, ironic moment was on that day we got the prototypes for our new merch in.
And this is part of why there's a lot of excitement towards the end. We got like a new logo, and we were doing merch. We were gonna like finally have real merch, which the company for years didn't think there was any money in. Yeah, merch. So like an hour before this all went down, the box with all the prototypes for the merch came in, and they're really cool. You'll see them in some of the videos.
Got to see all these new Warp Zone shirts and pins, and it all went away.
A lot of times, comedy needs a victim, and it was us, but it's really funny. If there was a time, I would rather have it not come in any other time than right then.
And so like the whole day just sort of felt like a dream state. I mean, there were people who were furious. There were people calling lawyers immediately. But I mean, for the most part, everybody was just, taking it all in one last time.
A company that employed hundreds of people, had been such a big part of our lives and our professional careers. It's in an instant just all coming to an end.
We'd all worked in like the same office together. We'd met so many friends, had so many good memories there, and it was just so swiftly gone. It wasn't just like leaving the company and leaving Warp Zone. It was like leaving the people.
That night we were there till like 2 a.m. A lot of people were just sitting around and just sort of consoling each other and just reminiscing about like our time at Defy, and
we're all hanging out. Like, there's a liquor store around the corner. Someone brought over some beers.
My old friend Jack Daniels helped me through some tough times in the past, and he definitely came through that night.
Did I mention there was alcohol? There was a lot of alcohol.
But it really was just like a moment for us all to sort of sit back and just like, look at everything one last time and just and appreciate it for what it was.
Me personally, I think my biggest reaction on the day was denial. I mean, not that like the company wasn't shutting down, but more that, oh, well, this won't be the end for the Warp Zone. We just need to start planning for the future right now.
The one thing I knew was that I wasn't gonna like really be able to process it very well that time. So it's like, okay, what's going on? What are our next steps? We basically just like had a huddle with Chance, our longtime editor, and our friend, and Mary, and we're just sort of like, hey, we're not sure what's gonna happen with the brand, but like, well, let's all stick to it and just see what we can do. And
I think the other part that was really hard was how much it affected people around us. We got unemployment after that, but there were lots of people at Defy that were contractors, and in a day, like, that was just it. Like, they had steady work for months, maybe even years. Like, our editor Chance, for instance, he lost all of his income at that point.
Woke up the next morning, and I think we met up to try and piece together like what had happened and what we should do going forward.
I think I was less in denial, and things became more real when the next day we lost access to everything.
The situation really sunk in, I think, after that happened.
We just, couldn't see anything. We didn't know what was happening to our channel. We didn't know. It really meant that we were definitely out of the conversation.
I don't think anyone knew like how long it was going to take or how difficult it was going to be. It definitely put the whole situation in perspective. Like, oh crap, we signed those papers all those years ago. No, we don't have that thing anymore, and now it might be gone.
We wanted to inform our fans as to what had happened, because we were just going off the air completely without any warning. Before we lost access to the channel and the Facebook page, we thought we gotta make a short little video with as much information as we currently have, and tell our fans like, hey, look, we're not gonna be uploading for a while, but we want to come back. That's our goal, and we're gonna do everything in our power to do that.
We had to like convince someone who was still working on the inside to upload it for us. I think after that moment, it like both sort of put a nail in the like, well, this is over for us right now, but it ignited our like sort of resolve to get it back.
We like really banded together. We were like, we're gonna fight for this. There is a future. We can't totally see it, but this isn't the end.
We were like very proactive, emailing everybody, doing all that we could, to get information on what happened to the company, what happened to the IP, all this stuff.
We got a lawyer, Selena. She was really great. She was really helpful. We tried seeing who owned the Warp Zone now, and it was a bank. I'm sure if you want to hear about the bank, you can go check out MatPat's videos about the bank, so you can see sort of how responsive they were.
Generally, when a company goes through bankruptcy, they liquidate the assets and then they disperse that money that's made to all the creditors. And Defy had a lot of creditors.
We know we couldn't buy it back.
We put in a bid for it, and it was basically like a hope and a wish. And once that happened, I don't think we heard from them again. They were just like, sorry.
They wanted to sell it, to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder would not be us.
At some point, there was just complete radio silence for, I don't know, at least a month, longer.
We hoped every day for some news about Warp Zone, but really didn't expect anything.
Enough time had passed where I thought realistically, like, that might have been it.
Things had gone very silent.
It had gone on like a month or so more than wildest projection would have allowed, and then we were hearing these rumors of a big company trying to swoop in and take it all. Our big fear was some sort of large company that didn't really know the space or the brand or care would sort of just swallow it up just to add to its, list of assets.
We're like 4 months into this, not knowing almost anything about what's happening. And we get a cryptic email from Ian.
Could not have come at a better time.
He basically was like,
Looks like I've found a good situation for Smosh, and I think we have a way of like getting the brand back.
let's jump on a call on Friday.
That Friday afternoon, we all hop on a call with Ian and the COO of Mythical.
It was a pretty brief conversation, but what he told us was that
We liberated Smosh, and we got the Warp Zone, with that. And also, guess what?
To our shock and amazement and other adjective to show how improbable this was, they said that they were going to give the IP back to us. They were going to give the Warp Zone back to us.
could not believe that. Could not believe that.
They offered this up to us just as like a gift. Just like, we know you guys, have poured your heart and souls into this thing, and Ian, obviously being a friend and a creator himself, he knew like how important this was to all of us, and he was just looking out for us, and we were all just like completely blown away by that generosity on his part and on Mythical's part. I think I said like, this is the nicest thing that anyone's done for the Warp Zone and its existence.
There's people that work a job, and then there's creators, and they're really passionate, and they respect. Geez, I'm really choked up. They're very like respectful and they're caring, and I don't really know, the Mythical guys that well, but I've always admired them, and it looks like they're just doing what they love and being passionate, and so that they would just get this and just be like, listen, creator to creator, you've been through enough. Just like, here you go. Just like, go do it. No real strings attached. Just, it was an emotional time, and it had an ending that I never would have guessed would happen. So
I think I just sat there in silence, just in complete awe of just like what had transpired, because I was in just such disbelief that they would have done something like that for us. I definitely, like I am now, got pretty teary-eyed.
It's still insane. I don't know. I don't know how better to describe it than we just couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe that this is how it was going to shake out, that we were actually going to get it back. And I don't know. It's emotional. Shut up.
It really feels like they were like the Coast Guard pulling us out of that Titanic. I'm going back to that. it was like really like a really, I don't want to say heroic, but I think it was a pretty heroic thing to do.
I can't believe they're able to rescue the warp zone. You don't see companies doing nice things in this world like that very often. I'm so excited and grateful that Rhett and Link and Mythical Entertainment and Ian and Smosh looked out for us.
I am very excited. When you work at a company and you're fighting with them for so long, you kind of forget what you're really doing, which is making fun videos and sharing them with people on the internet. And towards the end, you know, I personally got so burnt out and so caught up in the stuff that I sort of lost sight of the magic of it. And it was definitely something that I got to reappreciate in the downtime.
After being at Defy for all those years and feeling, you know, cast aside by the company, felt like we should be doing this on our own. We can do this on our own. We have the means to do it on our own.
It is nice to know that you have an actual control of your own destiny, and we don't have corporate America looking over our shoulders anymore or whatever, man.
I mean, for the first time in a long time, I think we're all incredibly excited about the future. The possibilities that we feel like are open to us now are endless, you know? We're not tied down anymore. We can do whatever we want.
I don't know. It's insane. It's insane. We have such a huge opportunity now. It like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you, Smosh. Thank you, Mythical. It's unbelievable.
And so I'm excited to be able to do the second chapter that's more passion focused. We don't have to hit view goals and appease corporate overlords, although we do have to we have to make more money than we spend. That's just how it works. I've seen with, you know, peers and friends like the Kinda Funny guys or Easy Allies now, going for a fan-driven, like fun, really one-on-one way of doing it seems like a very fulfilling way to go about it. So I'm excited to get into that. We definitely have not always been great on social media, and we don't, you know, we're kind of like old men always showing up late to different things. But I'm excited to wade in and just do it. I don't know. There's gonna be challenges. There always are, but I think that I don't know. I think there's a chance for this to be pretty special.
So, Defy Media.
Defy Media.
Defy Media.
Defy Media.
So that happened. That was Defy. We learned from it. We grew from it. That's over. That happened, but I don't think it'll happen again. Or it might. Maybe we learned nothing.